FM HD2, New York.
Michael K. is on the radio today, and he ain't afraid to say what he's thinking. It's the Michael K. Show on 880 ESPN Radio.
And a good afternoon, everybody. This is indeed the Michael K. Show. We thank you for joining us on this Wednesday. Beautiful day out. It is October 15th, 2025. Hope you're having a great day. Me and you for two. That's the deal. That's the rules of engagement. 2 hours of piping hot sports talk. And it's the fastest 2 hours in sports talk radio. I'm glad that you could be a part of it as well. So many things to talk about. We have Mike Lupica on in the 2:30 slot, as we always do on Wednesday. But let's start off with people in media affecting people in power. And we're not going to go deep into, we're not going to go at all into the political aspect of it. But let's talk about the sports aspect of it. People that are in charge of sports teams should not have rabbit ears when it comes to what is said in the media. You're supposed to be above that. We're supposed to be giving opinions on that, but you're supposed to be above it. That doesn't mean that you can't answer to egregious claims. No, doesn't mean that at all. You can answer back. That's allowed. But to function and coach with the worry of what is going to be said in the media, that is a recipe for disaster, and that is the very definition of thin skin. Now, I speak with a lot of knowledge on this topic because I do have thin skin, but I am not a football coach. I am not a baseball manager or a GM in any sport. I'm not that, because when you're at that level, you're not supposed to be making decisions based on something that might be said or had been said. Now, you might be saying, well, what is Kay talking about? I'll tell you. So Aaron Glenn was the Jet head coach, was addressing the media. And he admitted that sometimes you've got to give your receivers a chance. And by that, you know, not throwing up 50-50 balls all the time, but a guy doesn't have to be wide open for you to make the throw to him. You got to give your receiver a chance to get the ball from the defense. And, you know, obviously the discussion was about Justin Fields, because Justin Fields holds on to the ball. Either he's not seeing people break open, or he wants them to be so open that as he waits, he's going to get sacked. There's just so much, even a great offensive line can protect a quarterback. Just so much. But then today, Glenn admits that, okay, you know, he's got to give his receiver some chances. But then he comes out and says, but you guys are going to be bitching about that, about him, if something bad happens. What do you care? What do you care what we're going to say or write? Why? That's how you're running your team? You're not having him take chances because if he makes a mistake, we're going to jump on him? Now, this is not an isolated incident. If it was, I wouldn't even be bringing it up. But a couple of weeks back, you know, Aaron Glenn is at the podium and he's talking about, you know, we're not the same old Jets. People talk about we're the same old Jets. Who has ever said that to you publicly? Who's ever even written it? I mean, it seems like he's very, very attuned to what's happening. And I don't think that he should be. I don't think he should be worried about what we're saying. What a bad way to attack your job. He keeps talking about, you know, I have a belief system and I'm not going to turn back on that. I believe in the things that we're doing and we're going to continue along that path. But it doesn't seem that that's entirely true. Because you're obsessed with the same old Jets nonsense, and I understand because you used to be a Jet and you saw from the outside too looking in. But why should that even be on your mind? You are the same old Jets, by the way, until proven otherwise. So why fight that? That's true. The more you lose, and it's going on 15 years without a playoff appearance, the more you are indeed the same old Jets. But then it comes out today that if you truly believe that your quarterback should take chances and that should give the wide receivers or the tight ends a chance to make a catch, then that's the deal. Then have them do that. But don't worry about the media, in your words, bitching about it afterward. Why? Why should you even be concerned with that? Rabbit ears. That's what Aaron Glenn seems to have. And I don't know why. Because if you truly believe in what you're doing, then it doesn't matter what the reviews are. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what the record says. It doesn't matter. And I'll give you an example personally. When Don and I did our show together, and then Peter joined in, the ratings would indicate that we weren't good enough to beat the show that was on against us on The Fan. Now, we could have sat back and said, well, the ratings don't indicate it, so the fans have spoken, so let's change and let's do things differently. No, we felt that we had the right approach, that we're going to have fun talking about sports and also talk about sports seriously, a nice cross-section of all of it, and a little guy talk thrown in. And if the ratings never, ever reflected that, then we were cool with it because we're going to go down the way we wanted to go down. So we kept at it. As Aaron Glenn has said over and over, I believe in what we do, and I'm going to stay the course. We stayed the course. And what happened? We ended up winning. Everybody they put in front of us, we beat. Every single person. Including the show that finally ended up beating us as well. But we beat them. They won the first book, then we won the second book, then COVID happened and it all fell apart. But we still were representative in the ratings. We never said, let's change what we do. No. That's why Aaron Glenn shouldn't be worried about changing what he's doing. If he believes that the quarterback should take chances, then take chances. Don't worry about what the media is going to write about it. Because let's be honest, most people believe that the media doesn't know what it's doing. Both in politics and in sports. And in entertainment. Most people don't respect the media. Now, whether right or wrong, that's generally the perception. That the media are hacks. So what do you care what we say? We're not good enough to have your job. We're not an NFL coach. We haven't sat there on the sideline and coached in the cauldron of pressure that you do. Proverbially, just flip us off. You're worried about what we'll say if he makes mistakes? Boy, it's a bad way to approach this job. Rabbit ears. That's what he's got. He's got rabbit ears. Now, I was sitting here thinking as I was preparing for the show, the two New York football coaches on this date next year, who's going to have the job? Is it going to be Brian Daboll? Is it going to be Aaron Glenn? Will they both have the job? My guess is it's going to be Aaron Glenn. Now, if what we saw against the Eagles turns out to be the real deal with the Giants, then Brian Daboll will have his job and probably have an extension as well. But everybody's saying, well, Woody Johnson has invested 5 years and a lot of money into Aaron Glenn, so he's not going to pull the plug right away. Woody Johnson laughs at the kind of money that he's invested in Aaron Glenn. He's got it in the ashtray of his limousine. If he doesn't like what's going on, he'll fire him. I don't think it's going to be after 1 year. But if they have a terrible season this year and then start off and have a terrible beginning next year, you don't think he's going to fire him? And the signs are not good. And I'm not advocating for him to be let go. I don't believe in that. I think it's silly. I mean, you made your choice. Now live with it. Let's see exactly what he could do. But there are signs that concern you. He got this job preaching about discipline and ending the penalties and the stupid stuff that goes on the field. None of it's ended. In fact, it's gotten worse. Penalties continue to happen. He chose Justin Fields to be his quarterback. That hasn't looked good. And also, he's been disingenuous about that as well. Consider, he said, well, other than the game in London, Justin Fields has actually done quite well. No, he hasn't. The best that Justin Fields played was the first game of the season against the Steelers. He looked like a real quarterback. He got rid of the ball. He did what he had to do. But every other game after that, he's padded his stats in garbage time. He's padded his stats when the Jets were way behind. That's exactly what the stats said in that debacle against Miami. So he hasn't played well. He has not played well. But again, Glenn could sell that to the media, but if you look and you watch the games, you know exactly he has not played well. So that's a concern. But who's going to be the coach next year at this time? I mean, if I had a bet, I'd say it's Glenn, because the Giants' schedule continues to be a beast. But there are some wins in there if they continue to play well, if they played the way they played against Philadelphia. And I think if he gets to 6 or 7 wins and Jackson Dart looks like the real deal, then Daboll's going to be back. And then he might have more job security than Aaron Glenn does. I mean, if this season just goes off the rails and he's 2-15, I mean, what are we hanging our hat on? That means that they didn't find the quarterback. That means at 2-15, he's going to have to select a quarterback with his pick in the first round, and then the whole thing starts all over again. You're not moving closer to a resolution of what's happening. But the one thing that I would tell Aaron Glenn, and I guess it diminishes what I do for a living, what do you care what we say? What do you care what the writers write? If you truly believe in what you do, do it. Do it. That's the only way to go. You have a true belief in your system and what you can accomplish. Go and accomplish it. Don't worry that if we'll be ripping Justin Fields if he throws passes and they get picked off. We will. But you don't think we're going to be ripping him for not throwing passes and getting sacked 9 times, for having minus 10 passing net yards? It's a lose-lose situation, Aaron, if you continue to coddle him and not let him throw the ball. And by the way, throwing the ball this week against Carolina, it doesn't look like it's a good idea because both your number 1 and your number 2 receivers are probably out. So you got a little bit of a conundrum. If you're the Jets and you look at Carolina now, the Jets started as favorites, and now Carolina's a favorite in the game, and you don't win this game. Now, I know Carolina just beat the Cowboys. The Cowboys are no great shakes. But the bottom line is, if you don't beat Carolina, where's the win coming from? And if Justin Fields continues to play as poorly as he's played, again, where's the win coming from? So let him play the way you want him to play. If you don't want him to throw the ball, then don't have him throw the ball and suffer the slings and arrows of the media. Because I think you're reacting to that too. Because we all jumped on the fact that getting sacked 9 times was not the offensive line's fault. Just wasn't. So let him do what you believe he should do. I don't think you can win in the NFL. And I said this during preseason when all they did was run the ball. So this is not revisionist history. This is not second guessing. You can listen to the podcast. They're all archived on the ESPN New York app. I said you can't win in the NFL just running the football. The NFL is built to throw the football and put points on the board. That's what the NFL wants. So if you're going to keep handing off to Breece Hall and you're not going to do anything imaginative because you're afraid that the quarterback's going to make a mistake, how are you going to succeed in this league? How? And if the first half happens in Carolina and you're losing 17-3, and again, no passing at all, are you going to continue to stay with Justin Fields, or do wins not matter? Do you go to Taylor at that point? I'm not quite sure. Let's hear from you, 1-800-919-3776. A lot of stuff going on with baseball. We hear now that Brian Cashman and Aaron Boone are going to meet with the media tomorrow at noon. The fact that they're meeting with the media would tell you that they're not going anywhere. I never thought they were. But they have jettisoned 2 coaches. One, a beloved coach, Mike Harkey, the bullpen coach, That's a little bit of a shocker. He's the last uniformed personnel that remains from the 2009 championship team. He was Joe Girardi's pitching coach, or a bullpen coach. And it seemed like he was very close, had a great relationship with Aaron Boone. And he gets fired or let go, or they didn't renew his contract. Same thing with Travis Chapman, and you could read the writing on the wall with that. Remember that pop-up where Jazz Chisholm got doubled off of first base? Inexplicable, inexcusable. Chapman's the first base coach, and Boone, who never does anything like this, lights him up in the middle of the dugout for all the world and every camera to see. So you knew that Travis Chapman's job security was not very good. For Aaron Boone to do that in front of every camera and for everybody to see, did it with a purpose, you knew he was going to be scapegoat 1, 2, or 3. James Rowson, the hitting coach, he had the offense as the top offense in baseball. He's being seriously considered for the Twins job, managerial job. And Luis Rojas is interviewed for the Orioles vacant managerial job as well. So could be a big turnover on the coaching staff. And that's the one thing that really bothers me. Because I think that coaching staff maneuvers, like what the Mets did, getting rid of everybody, Jeremy Hefner, who was being lauded as a great pitching genius just last year, gets let go. The 2 hitting coaches get let go. That's lipstick on a pig to me. What does it mean? That's just pushing the blame to the lesser ones that don't have any way to defend themselves. So they get fired, and you bring in new coaches. But you don't blame anything else. That'll solve all the problems. Harkey and Chapman are gone. Whew, that'll do it. Hefner's gone. Chavez is gone. Yeah, that'll do it too. Glenn Sherlock's retired. That seems to me like putting a lot of blame on people that don't have that much say. They're just executing what you're telling them to execute. 1-800-919-3776. Let's go to Manny in Flushing. Manny.
How you doing, Michael? Mr. K, how you doing, sir?
I'm good. How you doing? Please call me Michael.
Okay, Michael. I grew up old school, so I have to say sir.
Oh,
I have
thank
to
you.
say
That's
sir.
very
But
kind
anyway, yes, sir. Yes, but I will say this about Eric Glenn. You see, the one thing I have an issue with Aaron Glenn with this situation, what you said about, about Fields, all this stuff, he doesn't back it up, because when you win, you can back it up. But when you're losing and when 0-6, you don't back it up. And that's a recipe for disaster. I mean, yes, listen, players and coaches, they got rappers, they hear what people say in the media. And when you don't back it up, it's going to be very difficult to give you the benefit of the doubt. Daboll, say what you want about him. He doesn't respond how the people in the media, how the people in the media, respond to him when they lose or not. He's always conducted himself with class. Listen, I hope Glenn does well to see, but if you ask me, next year, I would say Gable will stay because of what's going on with Glenn, because of Jets history. When you haven't made the playoffs for 16 years, for now 15 years, I would say, and you're 0-6, it's hard for people to give you the benefit of that. I hope he does well with the Jets, because it would be great for the Jets fandom, like your friend Greeny. But when you lose and you like to clap back in the media and not backing it up, it's a recipe for disaster.
You know what, Manny? You're absolutely right. And I think it makes it difficult to coach your team to continue to sell your beliefs, because if there's no positive reinforcement in terms of wins, then how do you continue to hold your locker room? How do you continue to do that? Now, one thing that I want to emphasize, I want you guys to know that this is what I'm saying here. People criticize him. If people criticize him, he has every right to answer back. He really does. But you can't make up ghosts. You can't. You can't make up ghosts. Well, you guys are going to say this if he does that. You don't know that. You guys have been saying same old Jets. Nobody been saying same old Jets after 3 games. Nobody was saying that. So you've got these ghosts in your head that you're fighting with that doesn't make sense to fight with them. Now, if somebody comes out and criticizes you, I think you have every right to fight back. I wouldn't fight back against trolls on social media, because the things that are said on social media, they're ridiculous. And they're coming from a place That's not based in expertise. They're coming from a place of emotion like a fan would do. And those things are usually typed out when you have Cheeto dust on your fingers. So professionals should not be reacting to that. Professionals like Aaron Glenn, guys in positions of power. Now, I use it as content here because I want to go back and forth with people because that's what phone calls are too. That's what this whole medium's about. But when you're running a football team, you can't be concerned with that nonsense. Now, let's bring it over to columnists or beat writers or radio and TV hosts or talk show hosts. If somebody says something that you think is wrong, you have the right to say, you're wrong and here's why. But to say, I'm not going to have him, if I do have him throw the ball, well, you guys are going to complain about it. Who cares? Who cares what we say? We're on the outside looking in. You got the gig. We don't. Ernie in Chatham. What's up, Ernie?
Hey, Michael. Good to talk to you.
Thanks for calling, man.
It's been a really long time with the Jets. I mean, my goodness, right? I'll say this about it, right? I think Aaron Glenn can be good, and I'm not ready to close the door. But I will say, the hubris in that press conference on Sunday morning after the game just really put him in a corner. Now, when you're the leader of any organization and it's not going well, somebody has to stay positive, and I'm glad he's confident. So give it up to him for that, right? Somebody has to stay.
You want him to believe,
right?
Yep.
You want him to believe, and he's trying, and I think he's trying, and it's hard for first-time guys. But look, he likes to remind us that he was on the Lions through this whole turnaround. That's awesome. My question to you is, do you think there's any realistic chance at all that they can make a blockbuster trade like the Lions did, and even if it costs maybe Quinnen Williams or it costs Sauce Gardner, could they get a quarterback? I mean, I don't know how realistic it is, but get a quarterback. I don't know if it's Dak. I don't know if it's Burrow. But is there a trade to be made? Because as a longtime fan, I just don't know that I could sit through another 3 years of a rookie. What do you think?
Well, I don't think that you could make those deals. I mean, if a team has a quarterback, that type of quarterback, the Bengals are never trading Burrow. The only way the Bengals would trade Burrow is if Burrow says, I got to go. I got to get out of here. So that's not happening. I don't think that the Cowboys would trade Dak. He's one of the few things that they can hang their hat on. You talk about the Lions trade. Well, Matthew Stafford had to get out of Detroit. He didn't want to lose anymore. And the Rams had given up essentially on Goff. That McVay didn't think that Goff could get him to the promised land. So that was a trade that worked for both. No, listen, if they could have, they should have done it during the offseason. Why go with Justin Fields? Justin Fields failed in Chicago, didn't do anything gain any traction with Pittsburgh. So I think that's pie in the sky stuff. I don't think there's any way that happens. There's just not. And you are going to have to, in all likelihood, sit through them babying another quarterback. And that's why everything is not aligned perfectly. You bring in a coach and a new GM. They go with Justin Fields. It doesn't look like Justin Fields is a long-term answer. So they're going to eventually have to draft a quarterback. And then there's going to be the growing pains of a quarterback. Now, sometimes growing pains are shorter than other growing pains. Looks like the Giants' growing pains with Jackson Dart, not as long as you thought it was going to be if he continues to progress at this level. But even that was not aligned beautifully. You have a coach and a GM that have essentially been told you better win and play important games in December or you're not going to have your job. So you had them draft a quarterback, right? And then if they lose their job because they didn't win 6-7 games, then you're going to have another coach come in. He might not like the quarterback. And that's why the nonsense that happened in Tennessee is so ridiculous too. You had a first-year head coach who played a big role in selecting the quarterback that they took. And now he gets fired 5 games in. None of it makes sense. If you really want to check it out, well-run organizations win games. Poorly run organizations continue to run headfirst into a wall. There's no mystery. They don't know what they're doing. So the owner of the Titans, Amy Strunk Adams, she wasn't even there when they relieved Callahan of his duty. It's ridiculous. Bad organizations continue to be bad. They don't change things. A fish rots from the head. You have to have everything aligned. If you're going to have somebody select a quarterback, that person, that coach has to be assured to be there for a long time. You gave Callahan 5 games with Ward, 5. Now the quarterback has to be adapted to another coach. And then if they bring in a coach at the end of the year, they have an interim coach right now, but if you bring in a full-time coach, he might not like that quarterback. And you start from ground one all over again. It's a joke. Again, bad teams do stupid things, and they lose a lot. They don't align everything perfectly. If you don't align your coach with your quarterback, you're in a lot of trouble. 1-800-919-3776. That's the number. Mike Lupica at 2:30. Talk some baseball as well. We'll talk something that has always fascinated me, and I want to get your take on it as well, because there were a number of Dodgers who are now up 2-0 over Milwaukee after yesterday's 5-1 victory. A number of Dodgers that wouldn't do things or wouldn't do something in Milwaukee that I have long wanted to do. I don't understand the fear. I want to talk about that. We'll do it when we get back right here on the K Show on ESPN New York.
Wednesday with Don, Hahn, and Rosenberg. Will the Rangers ever score at MSG again?
First of all, let's not make this bigger than it is. It's Game 5. Lots to like about our game. It's a unique situation, but let's not blow this out of proportion.
And Booger McFarland joins the show to discuss the New York football QB situation.
You can't be competitive in today's football without being able to throw the ball. And Justin Fields can't throw the ball.
Don, Hahn, and Rosenberg today at 3 on ESPN New York and streaming live on YouTube.
Dropped right down the chimney by Justin Fields to Garrett Wilson, and the Jets have the lead. Be at MetLife Stadium for the Jets and the Panthers on Sunday, October 19th at 1 p.m., presented by JetBlue. Get to the game early and secure the game giveaway, a JetBlue Jets plane magnet while supplies last. Lock in your seats now at nyjets.com/tickets. Once again, that's nyjets.com/tickets.
1 in every 6 men is likely to be diagnosed with prostate cancer in his lifetime. That's why New York Presbyterian wants to remind men over 50 to book a prostate cancer screening. A simple blood test is all it takes. It could save your life. Screenings are available across New York City and Westchester at locations near you. Schedule your annual prostate cancer screening today at nyp.org/cancer screening. Stay amazing. New York Presbyterian.
To help those who want to be helped, but may not be able to afford it.
That's what PGA Tour winner Grayson Murray had envisioned for a foundation before he sadly took his own life at just 30 years old. His parents channeled their grief into creating the Grayson Murray Foundation, carrying out his vision to help those struggling with mental health and addiction. To donate and learn more, visit GraysonMurrayFoundation.com.
Honey, this is it. Shot clock winding down. Trailing by 2.
When you can't miss the last shot, and neither can he, don't take slow for an answer.
Pastrello shoots. Didn't see it, Carter.
Switch to Optimum Fiber, the fastest and most reliable fiber internet, starting at just $40 a month. Call 888-4OPTIMUM or visit Optimum.com today.
What went through your head on the last shot?
It all happened so fast. Optimum. Don't take slow for an answer. Terms apply. See Optimum.com for details.
D'Agostino & Associates is a legacy firm, and I'm proud to be a part of that legacy. I'm Jenna D'Agostino, and like my father, I fight to get justice for the injured.
The hustle and grit of these streets shaped me. I'm John D'Agostino, and from the concrete to the courtroom, I built this injury firm 35 years ago to get accident victims justice. So call my team first, 1-800-BITE-BACK. That's 1-800-248-3222.
You want justice? Think Jenna D'Agostino. Think D'Agostino & Associates. Justice isn't just a word. For us, it's a way of life. It's having compassion for your struggle and getting you paid for your pain. Now that's justice. D'Agostino & Associates means being there for the injured.
Seriously injured? Call my team first at 1-800-BITE-BACK. That's 1-800-248-3222. D'Agostino & Associates has offices throughout New York and New Jersey and will come to you. I've been there, and I'll be there for you.
D'Agostino, Law, Bite Back.
At City Harvest, we believe no New Yorker has to go hungry. With your help, we're on the road 365 days a year, rescuing over 77 million pounds of nutritious food and delivering it free to millions of New Yorkers, transforming surplus food into sustenance, sustainability, and smiles, rallying thousands of New Yorkers to power a network of nourishment across our city. One day, one meal, and one New Yorker at a time. That's how we feed good. Donate at cityharvest.org.
Getting the right mattress helps you sleep at night. Getting the right price helps you sleep even better. At PC Richard & Son, they don't just sell you a mattress. Their experts use a 4-step fitting process to make sure your new bed fits you perfectly. The right fit, the right price, plus free delivery. It's what they do, only at PC Richard & Son. Free delivery on mattresses $199 and up. Excludes Manhattan. See stores for details.
What is it that makes the all-new Hyundai Palisade hybrid an incredible SUV? Is it the spacious interior that's comfy for the whole crew? Or the capability to go off-road? Maybe it's up to 600-plus miles of range. Is it the driver behind the wheel? What if it's all of that and more? What is it then? The all-new Hyundai Palisade Hybrid. So much more than just another SUV. Visit HyundaiUSA.com or call 562-314-4603 for more details. That's 562-314-4603.
Progressive knows there are two things RV owners love: to travel and relax. And they like to take both nice and slow. Just like this commercial. And what's more relaxing than the peace of mind knowing their RV is protected by Progressive? Now here comes the fast part. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
All right, so I need a little help from all of you, my radio 2-hour family. So the Dodgers have taken a 2-0 lead over Milwaukee. They've had two great starting pitching performances, and the Dodgers have figured it out. Last year they had to go pretty much with a bullpen to win a World Series. This year they're doing it with starting. So Blake Snell was brilliant. Over 8 innings. Bullpen almost gave it up because the bullpen this year is awful. And then yesterday was Yamamoto, brilliant, complete game. And they're up 2-0. So they took both games in Milwaukee. Same thing that Seattle did in Toronto. There's not a team that has come back from losing the 2 games at home in a best-of-7 series since the 1996 Yankees. Yeah, it's been 29 years. So I don't like the chances of the Blue Jays or the Brewers. Not saying it can't be done, but it's been almost 30 years since last it was done. But that's beside the point. While they were in Milwaukee, some of the Dodger players refused to stay in a hotel that has long been thought to be haunted. Now, I believe that the hotel that they're talking about is the Pfister, which is an old hotel in downtown Milwaukee. It's lovely. It's a great hotel. It really is. But there have long been rumors that it's inhabited by ghosts and it's haunted. So some of these Dodger players, who I don't know specifically who they are, refuse to stay there. And it's not just specific to the Dodgers. There are a lot of teams that come in, and some of the players don't want to stay at the Pfister because it's haunted or supposedly haunted. Here's my question. I would want to stay in a haunted hotel. I want to know that there's something after this life, that there are ghosts, even if they want to spook you. Wouldn't that be a thrill to be in a hotel and a ghost and something moves and you know, wow, after all of this, there is something after all of this. What are you afraid of? I used to be afraid when I was a little kid. When my family would drive past the cemetery, if we were driving somewhere, and my dad would look at me and go, well, what's wrong with you? I said, why? He said, those are the people that can't hurt you. Those are you're safest there. Those people can't hurt you. So I'd like to get into the minds of these players that are so deathly afraid because a hotel could be haunted. Okay, so what? What are they going to do to you? I mean, I think you've been watching horror movies a lot. I prefer to think that if something's haunted, It's just somebody from the afterlife that's sending you a message. And I want to get that message. I want some ghost to talk to me. I want some goblin to come talk to me. I want some ghost in the form of a dial tone to be on the radio show that you just heard. That tells me there's something there. Afraid to stay in a hotel that might be haunted. Well, what's going to happen to you? Other than confirmation that there is something after this life. And maybe that something is roaming the hallways of an old hotel. So some of the Dodgers, if they did stay in that haunted hotel, it worked for them. They won 2-1, they won 5-1, they go back to L.A., and they look like they're about to become the first team since the Yankees to repeat as champions. Because who's stopping this Dodger team right now with the starting pitching that they have? They haven't even started Ohtani yet. They haven't even started Glasnow yet. And it does show you can't overreact to things that happen during the season because all these starters were injured. Their closer, Roki Sasaki, was in the minors. Ohtani, they slow played him coming back from Tommy John surgery. Blake Snell was hurt most of the year. And here they are. Their starting pitching is the reason that they might win a second championship. Completely different than the way they won their first. Completely different. And they got players that can ball. They really do. Kike Hernandez is a big-time, big-game player. He just is. Tommy Edman can play. He can get big hits and do big things. Even their lesser players like Andy Paez get big hits. It's nothing about that team. Now, it's hard to buy championships, but they do have a $400 million payroll. They should have close to a complete team. And it shows you that money doesn't really solve everything. And I'm going to tell you why. They spent so much money on their bullpen during the offseason. And they've all been terrible. Terrible. So you can spend whatever money you want and it's still not going to help something that would be construed as a negative. Dodgers up 2-0. Mariners up 2-0. Let's go to Jimmy in Yonkers. Jimmy.
Hey, Michael, it's actually Jamie, but
I'll
sorry,
tell you,
Jamie. I've stayed at the Pfister, probably 5 or 6 times over the years, and I will never go back.
Why? Tell me. I've stayed there. I love it.
It's not because I think it's haunted, but I don't know whether when it was initially constructed, and obviously it's an older building, but you hear every creak. Right. Everything you hear in the hallway, everything upstairs you hear. And I could see how some people might think it's haunted, but I just think there's a lot of noise in that place.
Now, for those that don't know, Jamie, and you could back me up, it's a circular hotel. So, I mean,
okay.
The rooms are, they're in a circle and the elevators are in the middle. It's an odd-looking hotel. As you said, it was built a long, long time ago. And maybe the creaks that you're talking about, people think they're ghosts. But again, my question to you, Jamie, would that frighten you if there was a ghost in the room?
Would it frighten me? I mean, if there was a legit ghost, it probably would frighten me first. Yeah, why not, man? I don't know. We're all afraid of what we're unfamiliar with. So, yeah, but I wouldn't go back. First of all, it's a very expensive hotel. I think you're talking like close to $500 a night in a lot of cases. Right. And I just don't think the sleeping experience is all that good, so I wouldn't go back. I'm not saying it's haunted, though.
Well, I appreciate your honesty, and I believe that they're not the Dodger players that didn't want to stay there have nothing against the sleeping experience. They believe that the place is haunted. Now, Matt Manhattan says he also stayed at the Pfister. What's up, Matt?
I do business in Milwaukee, and I've stayed in the Pfister over 20 times. Really cool place. John Dillinger, I believe, had a hideout there, but definitely not haunted.
And if it was, would it bother you?
No. To your point, I'd like to know there's confirmation of the afterlife.
See, you and I are in lockstep. I love it. You're more than welcome to call in anytime you want, Matt. We are of the like mind. I love that. 1-800-919-3776. Let's go to Chris in Barnegat. What's up, Chris?
Hey, Mike. Just an interesting question. So I was listening to Don Hahn and Rosenberg yesterday.
And
they brought up, of course, yeah. And they brought up a question about how Yankee fans should root for the ALCS. Now, I have a take on it, but I want to hear your take on it. and then maybe I could follow up after that.
I would, if it were me rooting, right, not being a member of the media, I'd root for Seattle because Seattle has never diminished the Yankees. They've never made fun of the Yankees, and the Blue Jays have really hung on the rim with the Yankees lose and all that. So I'd root for Seattle. How about you?
Yeah, I 100% agree, especially since Toronto's a division opponent. But I had a little interesting take on it as well, where if Toronto does end up losing to Seattle, maybe Brian Cashman and the front office can look at it being like, oh, we're actually not as close as we think we are, and we need to make bigger adjustments and additions in the offseason.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's one way I would look at it if I was GM, but, I'm just sitting in an office, not GMing, so.
Well, you know what I would say, Chris? Not so much that we're not that far off. If Toronto did win, I think it could change the minds of a lot of people in the game where let's get people that make contact and put the ball in play because Toronto doesn't strike out a lot. They're kind of middle of the road when it comes to home runs. They hit their share, but they're not at the top. And I think they have like 4 guys hitting over 290. And it's all about putting the ball in play and playing clean defense. That would be the thing that I hope would be the seismic change if they won. But yeah, I said this yesterday, and I know that it's not going to really resonate well with Toronto fans. You look at Toronto's team. I mean, just look at it objectively. And then you look at the Yankees team. I'm sorry. The Yankees are better. The Yankees starting pitching is far better. Far better. Their bullpen, although it was shaky toward the end, they pitched very well in the postseason, and they've got pieces that Toronto... I mean, wouldn't you rather have David Bednar close the game than Jeff Hoffman? And then you look at the players around the diamond. Yeah, the Blue Jays are different than the Yankees, so it's hard to say I'll take A or B. But the Yankees have bigger stars with bigger numbers, and you have probably the greatest player in the world in Aaron Judge. And that's what stings most about losing that series. I think the Yankees are a better team. And I think that you win with pitching in the postseason. The Yankee pitching was awful against Toronto. They were great against Boston. Awful. Heel was awful. Fried was awful. Rodon was awful. Boom, you dig yourself a hole, and Schlittler couldn't save you. I thought Schlittler pitched well in the 4th game. That's what's really got to aggravate the Yankees to no extent. You watch this Toronto team who can't get anybody out on Seattle. Anybody. Their bullpen is imploded. And you go, well, how'd they beat us? Well, they did. And that's something to look into. But if you had a fantasy draft, really the first 4 starters would probably come from the Yankees. You're not taking Scherzer. I like Bassett, but obviously there's a back issue there. He is on the roster, though. Scherzer's going to start game 4. Barrios, I mean, really, wouldn't you rather have Fried and Rodon or Schlittler? So I think the Yankees starters and their bullpen are better. And I understand what Buck Martinez was saying. I like Buck a lot. I would never criticize him. But the Yankees aren't a bad team. They might do some things that are frustrating, but they're not a bad. He said they're a bad team. They're not a bad team. In fact, I think they're a better team than Toronto. But Toronto beat them. Toronto beat them, and that's all you need to know. So for those 4 games, and during the season they beat them too. They obviously are better. But just on a personnel standpoint and the things that are really important in terms of winning games, I think the Yankees are better than Toronto. I think they're better than Seattle. That's why I thought there was a chance they'd go back to the World Series. If they played up to their capability and more people hit other than just Aaron Judge, you know what? They'd have a shot. Big-time surgery happened for the Yankees, begging questions. We'll talk about that when we get back right here on The K Show on ESPN New York.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in New Jersey. T&Cs apply.
To help those who want to be helped but may not be able to afford it.
That's what PGA Tour winner Grayson Murray had envisioned for a foundation before he sadly took his own life at just 30 years old. His parents channeled their grief into creating the Grayson Murray Foundation, carrying out his vision to help those struggling with mental health and addiction. To donate and learn more, visit GraysonMurrayFoundation.com.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Ready to get rid of that old car? Donate it to Cars for Kids. Call 1-877-CARS-FOR-KIDS to reach a friendly live agent. Donation's super easy, and your car can be picked up as soon as tomorrow. Call us now, 1-877-CARS-FOR-KIDS. That's Cars with a K to donate your car today.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Did you know you can donate real estate too? Go to carsforkids.org. That's carsforkids.org.
Just printed from the Erie Canal Press, the most coveted ticket, New York Lottery's $1 million raffle, hath arrived. 15 fortunate souls shall come into the fortune of a millionaire.
Translation, the $1 million raffle is here, and 15 winners are going to become millionaires. The New York Lottery commemorates 200 years of the Erie Canal with your best odds of winning $1 million. Limited tickets available. Ask your local retailer today. Please play responsibly. Must be 18 plus. Gambling problem? Call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY.
Dave Rothenberg here to tell you about my friends at Bathfitter. Now, they converted my kids' bathtub to a shower and did an incredible, really an unbelievable job. They offer all types of custom bath renovations, including their unique PermaFit solution for a watertight fit done in just one day. Durable and easy to clean with no demo or mess and lower cost than a standard replacement. And a lifetime guarantee. Right now, no money down, no payments, no interest until 2027. So start designing your bath today like we did at bathfitter.com. There's only one Bathfitter.
Score a win this game day with Amazon Pickup, the MVP of package pickup. Need that new football jersey for the big matchup? With Amazon Pickup, you can collect your order from secure Amazon lockers or counters near you on your schedule. Whether you're running from work or home or straight to the tailgate, Amazon Pickup makes it easy and worry-free at no extra cost. Don't miss kickoff. Grab your gear and your packages when it works for you. Find your nearest Amazon Pickup location at amazon.com/pickupmvp. That's amazon.com/pickupmvp.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at ethos.com/play. That's ethos.com/play.
Feeling stuck on your own 10-yard line in the career game? Maybe it's time to just go for IT. My Computer Career has the game plan to score a rewarding new IT career in months. Whether you're a rookie, a breakout career changer, or a military veteran ready to serve. Why spend years chasing a college degree when you can fast-track your future in IT starting now? Take your mark, get set, go for IT. Take the free career evaluation at mycomputercareer.edu today. Financial aid is available to those who qualify, including VA benefits.
From the regular season to the Super Bowl, ESPN New York is your destination for football. We've got crazy fans.
If the Giants somehow beat the Cowboys, I'm going to take a dump on your head.
You can feel good because you're a damn football team.
Expert analysis.
Marcus Spears joins us now. ESPN NFL analyst Damian Woody.
Mel Kiper Jr.
The Hall of Famer Steve Young.
He's kind of our resident general manager, Louis Riddick.
We got Mike Tannenbaum right now.
And all your fantasy and wagering needs. This is ESPN New York. We are football.
Something to be a little worried about if you're a baseball fan. If Seattle ends up sweeping Toronto and Milwaukee gets swept by the Dodgers, because of the intractability of television, there will be no baseball, none, from October 18th to the 24th. Talk about killing off your marquee event. So you're going to go a week without baseball, then expect everybody to get re-engaged for the World Series. They will in the towns. They will in L.A. and Seattle. But the rest of the country, they'll move on to other things. Because right in the middle of that, the NBA season's going to start. How do you do that? How is that allowed? Again, nobody expects a sweep. I hope that the Brewers in Toronto climb back into it. I really do. But if there is, in fact, a sweep in both series, no baseball from the 18th to the 24th. It's not great. Not great, Bob. Anthony Volpe made a diving play to the backhand side in the hole at shortstop the beginning of May. He said he heard something pop. They did tests. They saw a slight tear in the shoulder, that it could have been an old tear, and he played the rest of the season with it. He had a 6-day stretch after he took a cortisone shot for the second time, and then he played fairly well the remainder of the season, played well against Boston, and then really crapped out against Toronto. Now he had surgery today to repair that shoulder. They say he should be ready for the start of the season. 5 months he played with this injury that had to eventually be repaired by surgery? That begs a lot of questions. I'm sure that those questions are going to be asked to Aaron Boone and Brian Cashman tomorrow when they meet with the media at noon at the stadium. 5 months. Now, I can't say, well, he had a bad year because he was playing with the bad shoulder, but I will, because, he didn't hit well the year before. And he didn't hit for average the first year either. But something happened with his fielding. I don't know if it was related to his non-throwing shoulder, because he won the Gold Glove his first year. He was in the top 3 for shortstops in his second year. And he's not in the top 3. He's not nominated for a Gold Glove this year. And rightfully so. He had 19 errors. He did not play well in the field. Was it because of the shoulder? I don't know. But I'm just shocked that he played with a shoulder that eventually needed surgery for 5 months. Did he gut through it and kept telling them it didn't bother him? Didn't the films tell them anything when they did the MRIs? But 5 months? You can't tell me that before he got hurt, Oswaldo Cabrera couldn't play shortstop? And then Caballero, after you acquired him, couldn't play shortstop? Instead, you sent a player who was compromised out for 5 months? I can't wait to hear what Brian Cashman has to say. That they both said toward the end of the year they didn't think that surgery was going to be needed. Maybe it would, but they didn't think it would be needed. Well, he had surgery today. Weird, right? Let's go to Rich in Cocoa Beach. Rich.
Yeah, hi, Mike. Thanks for taking my call.
Thanks for calling.
I'm the guy who, about 6 months ago, sat next to Sandy Koufax on the plane.
Oh,
If
yes,
you
I
recall,
remember
I know
that.
you were. Okay. This involves your old friend who's no longer with us, Mike Shanlon. I was on a flight, and also the Hotel Pfister. I was on a plane flight to Milwaukee, and he sat next to me. I didn't know him at the time, and we started to speak, and I found he was a writer for the, I think, the Boston Herald.
Yep.
And we both took a cab to the Pfister, and from that point on, we became pretty friendly. Anytime I was in Boston, he would get me tickets to the ball game, or I'd see him in New York. So, but as far as the Pfister, it was a great hotel.
It was. Now you didn't think it was haunted, though. Obviously not. Let's go to Alex in Midtown. Alex.
Michael, I admire your moxie, man, because I would be terrified to be in a hotel that is supposedly haunted.
Tell me why.
It's for this simple reason, because when you're asleep in bed, it's as defenseless as you could possibly be. And in the middle of the night, if I'm rolling over and I happen to open my eyes, the thought of a spiritual thing staring at me, it terrifies me. I'd freak out.
Really?
If I'm on
But wouldn't it comfort you that
TV,
there's something after this life?
probably the next day I would feel more comfort. In the moment,
Okay,
I'd be
I understand
terrified.
that. I get it. That makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah.
I want some sign. Like my sister always tells me that she has these conversations with my mom, who's been gone for a while now, and it makes me feel great that she does. Like my mom will appear in different ways to her and say things, and And I said, I was Mom's favorite. Well, why doesn't Mom ever come to me? And my sister Debbie said, because you're not a believer, that's why. I said, well, make me a believer. I want to be a believer. Let me have a sign. And then she said, they don't come unless they think you believe. I said, but make me believe then. And if I was in a haunted hotel, that would make me believe. Knight Rider 169 just sent me this message on X. And you know what? It's a great point. I'm glad he corrects me. He said, I love you. You just said the Yankees are a better team than Toronto. They weren't in the regular season of the playoffs. Yankees have a better roster, but it's a team game. Every year this kind of spin is why the Yankees don't do radical changes that are probably needed. Now, the last part is the one thing I disagree with. The Yankees don't make changes or not make changes based on what I say. I can guarantee you that. But that's the proper way for me to say it. The Yankees have a better roster than Toronto. Toronto clearly has a better team. They do. They have a better team. They do things better to win. They put the ball in play. They don't strike out. They play strong defense, although the Yankees play pretty good defense all year. But thank you, Knight Rider. That's the way to put it. They have a better roster. They don't have a better team. Because if they had a better team, then they would have beaten Toronto in the 13 games in the regular season. It wouldn't have been tied. They would have been had a bye in the first round rather than have to play the Red Sox. And they would have beaten them in a best of 5 in the ALDS. So you're absolutely right. They have a better roster. Toronto clearly has a better team. So I stand corrected, and I thank you for that. Hey, Game Time is brought to you by Tullamore Dew Irish Whiskey, because when it's game time, it's Tully time. 8 p.m. tonight, ALCS Game 3, as Seattle hosts the Blue Jays. Coverage will begin right here on ESPN New York, beginning at 7:30 p.m. Right here, 7:30 p.m., and it'll be on Fox. Game 3 will be on Fox as well. Tullamore Dew, the original triple distilled, triple blended, triple cask matured Irish whiskey. Be sure to grab a Tullamore Dew. Try the new Tullamore Dew Honey or during tonight's action, or glass up to enjoying Tullamore Dew responsibly. So much more to talk about. We'll hit you with more baseball stuff as well. And then we have Mike Lupica at 2:30. Want to talk with you. You know the number, 1-800-919-3776. I hope you're watching us on our YouTube channel. It's easy to do. Go to the ESPN New York app, which is easily accessible and free. Just download it on your phone or your device. And then once you get to the ESPN New York app, well, there's a tile there for the ESPN New York YouTube page. You click on that, subscribe, nothing, costs nothing. And then you could watch us all, the morning show, DiPietro and Rothenberg, Barton Carlin, this show, Don Hahn and Rosenberg. You're watching me right now. If you have the app, you see I'm wearing a white pullover, quarter zip, with an American flag logo from East Hampton. And you see all the stuff behind me, some memorabilia as well. So that's part of the experience. If you want to experience it, go to the ESPN New York app, YouTube tile, click it, subscribe, and then it becomes a television show as well as a radio show. Good? Got it. Great. Don Hahn and Rosenberg coming up at 3. The K Show rolling on for another hour right here on ESPN New York.
Every aspect of your business will operate better and faster with artificial intelligence. AI is a race, and companies that act first will win. Thrive Managed AI is your advantage over all your competitors. Thrive partners with you on a smart, secure AI strategy for your business. Then they deploy and manage it for you. Be first and win the race with Thrive Managed AI. Start with a complimentary strategy consultation at thrivenextgen.com/ESPN. That's thrivenextgen.com/ESPN.
Friends, it's football season, the best time of the year. You should be out there tailgating, cheering on your team, and enjoying every Sunday. But if you're dealing with neck pain, back pain, sciatica, or nerve pain, even getting off the couch can feel like a challenge. You don't have to live like that. There's help. Dr. Jay Shaw at Sandwell Pain is New Jersey's top pain specialist. He's Ivy League trained, double board certified, and is dedicated to helping you get back in the game. Here's what makes the difference. No surgery, no scars, no long recovery, no pain medication. Just precise, non-surgical image-guided procedures that deliver real results. Dr. Shaw treats neck pain, back pain, joint pain, migraines, nerve pain, and sciatica with a plan that's customized for you. Same-day and next-day appointments are available, and with offices in Woodbridge, Livingston, and Inglewood, relief is always close. So don't let pain keep you on the sidelines this season. Visit SandwellPain.com to call, text, or book online. Most major insurances are accepted. That's SandwellPain.com. Relief is closer than you think, and it starts today.
What Ballybet Sportsbook? Yo, Ballybet stacked for football season. When it comes to sportsbook apps, it's undefeated. Ballybet. Check out that brand new parlay zone. Here's the kickoff. Build your bets and place them right on your phone. What? Live bets, daily boosts, and promos. Increase your odds so you can win more dough. Touchdown! Ballybet's the play. Make game day more fun and download it today. Must be 21 plus, New York only. Gambling problem? Call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY. Ballybet Sportsbook and Casino. Download it.
880 ESPN, WHSQ, and WCBS-FM HD2, New York. A Good Karma Brands radio station.
There are a lot of reasons why people buy at Ramsey Mazda. It's their selection, it's their customer service, and it's their savings. Get 1.9% financing on a new Mazda 2025 CX-50 or lease for $219 for 36 months. Start shopping now at RamseyMazda.com. Choose wisely. Choose Ramsey Mazda. Call 833-853-2970 for lease details. VIN SN390557. MSRP $32,455. Zero security deposit. APR $17.48 per $1,000 financed. Ends 10/31/25.
Dave Rothenberg here to tell you about my friends at Bathfitter. Now, they converted my kids' bathtub to a shower and did an incredible, really an unbelievable job. They offer all types of custom bath renovations, including their unique PermaFit solution for a watertight fit done in just one day. Durable and easy to clean with no demo or mess and lower cost than a standard replacement. And a lifetime guarantee. Right now, no money down, no payments, no interest until 2027. So start designing your bath today like we did at bathfitter.com. There's only one Bathfitter.
Your fantasy roster is set. The Smack Talk is heating up, and this season, ESPN Bet is giving you more ways to ride with your squad. Introducing the ESPN Bet Fan Center, where you can instantly link and bet on your fantasy teams right in the ESPN Bet app. An enhanced sports betting experience only from ESPN Bet, the sports book for sports fans. Make the connection today with ESPN Bet Fan Center and the ESPN Fantasy app. ESPN Bet Sportsbook. Download the app today. Must be 21 plus. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details.
They say a full marathon is the ultimate test. For me, it's more than a race. It's a milestone I once thought impossible. Michelle Smallman here, and I'm running my very first marathon in New York City with the support of Gainbridge and Gainbridge Assist, powered by Parity. Together, we're empowering girls and women through sports and education, with grants to 32 organizations in 21 states. Every step I take is for the finish line and for the next generation chasing their dreams. Here's to 26.2 miles and a future with no limits.
Back to the show, everybody. Me and you for two. Every single day, Monday through Friday from 1 to 3. I'm glad that you could join us. Talking some baseball, the Yankees and the Mets have both made some coaching maneuvers. The Yankees have not retained Mike Harkey, who's been there forever, and it's just a delightful guy. I don't understand exactly what a bullpen coach does. I don't want to diminish what they do. But did he not answer the phone in time? Is he the one actually coaching the relief pitchers? Because they've had a great relief staff for a long time until this year at the end, where their injuries affected their efficacy. But Mike Harkey, was he part of the problem? I guess they think so if they don't bring him back. Travis Chapman, first base coach, also let go. And I knew that was going to happen after Jazz Chisholm got doubled off of first base. It was all Jazz Chisholm's fault. But Aaron Boone on camera, you could see him screaming at Travis Chapman in the dugout for everybody to see. Everybody to see. And there's also reports that Jack Hurst, who's supposed to be a hitting savant in the Yankee organization, he is going to join the staff as well. With what role, I don't know. But James Rowson, the hitting coach for a very good offense, is supposedly in heavy consideration to get the managerial job with the Minnesota Twins. So there's that. And the Orioles have also interviewed the Yankee third base coach Luis Rojas, who was a Met manager for a couple of years. Bad situation for Rojas at that time. COVID took over at the last moment for Carlos Beltran when Beltran was let go, when he was implicated in the cheating scandal for the Astros. Unfairly, he's the only one who's really been punished for that. And I've said that a lot. It's a joke. A.J. Hinch just got a contract extension in Detroit. Alex Cora, who I like a lot, is embedded in Boston. one of the highest paid managers in baseball. All the players got off scot-free, but Carlos Beltran is the one that continues to suffer because he fell between the cracks. He was a player when this happened, but he wasn't a player when all the allegations came down, and he had no union to defend him. Otherwise, he would have fallen under the union protection, and he wouldn't have been touched, just like all the players that took part in the cheating, they weren't touched either. So that's something that you look at, and we'll see exactly what goes on if Luis Rojas gets that job. Aaron Boone and Brian Cashman are going to meet with the media at the stadium tomorrow at noon. So by the time we get on the air, we'll know exactly what they talked about, what was said, some of the reasons behind the coaches being let go. And this is after the Mets pretty much did a clean sweep on their coaching staff as well. Now, John Gibbons, their bench coach, supposedly just walked away and said that they needed a new voice alongside Carlos Mendoza. He spoke very highly of Mendoza. And the Mets, according to, I think Pat Ragazzo is the first one to report it, they've hired Kai Correa as their bench coach. He had been with the Guardians for the last 2 seasons, last one as a Major League field coordinator. So that's the stuff that's coming out baseball-wise. And, we talked about in the last segment as well, Anthony Volpe underwent surgery on his shoulder today. So that means that the shoulder that he injured at the beginning of May was repaired today on October 15th. So he played with an injured shoulder that needed surgery for 5 months. Why? It wasn't like he was lighting up the world. If anything, he hurt his standing by the way he performed. Sometimes discretion is the better part of valor. So if, in fact, he's the one who kept telling I'm fine, didn't they see anything on the x-rays or the MRIs that tells you, no, you're not? Now, maybe they were hoping that he wouldn't have to have surgery, but he's having surgery. And I wouldn't be surprised if we hear in the next month or so that maybe Judge is going to have surgery. Now, his elbow looked like it was getting better, but he still wasn't throwing the way he threw before he got hurt. Let's hope he doesn't have to have surgery, because if he does, would he be ready to play right field next year? And if he's not, that means he's going to have the DH, and that means we're going to have to see Stanton in the outfield again. But can't wait to hear from Anthony Volpe if it bothered him all year. And if it did and he continued to play, shame on him. When you're hitting 205, 206, don't keep pushing your way into the lineup. Because if you do say you're injured, then you have an excuse for playing that way. But if you say you're okay, then you don't have an excuse. But now I guess you have an excuse in retrospect because the shoulder had to eventually be repaired. Strange times. Really strange times. One quick aside. So the new administration at the University of North Carolina football team, the GM is Mike Lombardi. And he sent out a video where he's like typing out messages to send to recruits or letters. Typing? It's 2025. He's got a typewriter. Now you can say, well, you want an old school feel. Really? You can get an old school feel. Put the font on your computer that you want it to look like a typewriter. Boom, old school feel. You're typing out letters on a manual typewriter. I don't know if they're really up to snuff in terms of today's world, if that's what they're doing. Now, it almost looked like he posted it as sort of a brag, like he's hanging on the rim. Look how old school I am. Old school usually doesn't win anymore. When everybody else is working with AI and you're typing out letters on a manual typewriter. Now, if you want to say, I write out letters, handwritten notes, that would impress me because no computer can do that. But typing out letters on a manual typewriter, and you wonder why North Carolina is kind of stumbling its way through this, not a great look. Not a great look at all. 1-800-919-3776. One more thing I wanted to talk about. I wish that I knew hockey like Don knows hockey. That's the one sport that I can't be totally confidently conversant in. I just can't. I can't fake it. I know enough to talk in broad strokes, but I don't know enough to get down in the weeds about it. So my question to all of you out there, I'm sure there are a lot of Ranger fans out there. Why haven't they scored in 3 games at Madison Square Garden? Because I look at the team and there's talent on the team. How could you not score for 3 games at Madison Square Garden? Now, you've won games on the road, but you've been shut out 3 games at home. How's that possible? Somebody explain that to me. I could see if they had a rat team. They don't have a rat team. They've got guys that with talent. They have a new head coach that's won Stanley Cups. You got shut out 3 games at the Garden? Please explain. Somebody with a hockey pedigree. I need an explanation. I need help. And by the way, one quick thing about Don. He's killing it, by the way. Killing it as the television voice of the Devils. He broadcasted 2 games. They've won both of them. The only game they lost was an exclusive on ESPN Plus. And toward the end of the second game that they won, he had a line, put a pitchfork in it, it's over, rather than a fork. Because it's the Devils, pitchfork. And that's going to be like you watch. That's going to be a big deal. RotoWare has already printed out T-shirts with it. Put a pitchfork in it. Brilliant play by Don. Brilliant. I know he doesn't like to be the story, but that's a great little catchphrase. It's not intrusive. You say at the end of the game that they're winning. Brilliant. What a great hire by MSG and the Devils. He's killing it, how good he is. Killing it. And when you see Stan Fischler, right, who doesn't hand out compliments all that easily, he posted on X the other day how great a job Don has done. Very proud of my man. Very proud. And at 3 o'clock, Don Hahn and Rosenberg takes over. 1-800-919-3776. Let's go to Brian in Rockville Center. Brian.
Good afternoon, Mike. I just want to know, we're going after Volpe, pretty brutally right now for playing through an injury. I get it. Maybe it wasn't the most responsible thing, and he didn't perform. But are we really going to go after him that hard for trying to tough it through and be there for his team, or is that being Captain Little Man a little bit too much? He played 5 months.
Brian, I agree with you. It shows his toughness, but let me ask you this. But there was no effectiveness, so who did he help? And if he ended up getting surgery, nobody could question his toughness, right? It would mean that he was really seriously hurt.
Does he need to be crucified for it?
No, who's crucifying him? I'm not crucifying him. I'm questioning why the team didn't.
That's the reason why I'm saying it.
But he played through it, but he wasn't good. So who did it help? He had his worst season of 3 in the major leagues. It didn't help anybody. And it certainly didn't help him. I'm not crucifying him at all. If you're hearing crucifixion, I don't know what's coming out of the speaker. I've said over and over, I've been on Team Anthony Volpe for a long time. I like the guy. I like him as a person. I see something there as a player. It hasn't manifested itself in statistics, especially this last year. But toughness, if you play through something for 5 months and then you end up getting surgery, well, no one can question your toughness, but you can question how advisable that is. Why would you do it if you weren't playing well? You played poorly all year, except for the first month. How long ago does that seem like with the torpedo bat when he had that great opening series against Milwaukee? But you can't really hang on the rim. Look how tough I am. I hit 204. 19 errors in the field. It wasn't for the betterment of Anthony Volpe's career, and it certainly wasn't for the betterment of the Yankees. And the Yankees kept selling us, including Aaron Boone, how great Volpe was. Remember when Boone snapped at Meredith Marakovitz and said, he's bleeping elite. He wasn't elite this year. The eyes told you he wasn't elite. So trying to play through an injury and not playing well is not something that you get a Purple Heart for. Yeah, it shows that he's tough and he has a high threshold for pain. Yeah, all of that is true. But to what end? I'm sure that Giancarlo Stanton was playing in pain with those elbows. They never got surgically repaired. And he missed the first half of the season. He came back with the pain and played great. So that you understood why he was playing through the pain, because he was playing great. But playing through the pain when you're not producing, that doesn't make sense by the Yankees and by Anthony. go to Rich in Brooklyn. Rich.
Hello, Michael. How are you?
Good. How you doing, Rich?
Okay. How come that sometimes, even you've said it on TV, sometimes when I listen, because I don't watch TV really. I listen. I'm totally blind. I've met you before. I've met you at photo days at Yankee Stadium. Okay, anyway, sometimes players will play through the season. They have to play through it, and then at the end, they get it fixed.
Mm-hmm.
All right?
Okay.
And and sometimes surgery is sometimes it should be done only at the last expense because there could be complications.
Well, I understand all of that, Rich, but he didn't play well. So who did it benefit from him being that tough?
Well, I can't believe that the Yankees that nobody knew about it. That's hard to believe.
Well, they did do MRIs. They said that there was there was an old tear there. But meanwhile, they gave him a cortisone shot at the All-Star break and a cortisone shot in September. So obviously it wasn't just an old tear, it was something that was bothering him.
So why didn't they fix it?
We'll find out tomorrow when Boone and Cashman talk. I don't know why they didn't fix it. Because it's fixed now after the surgery. Again, nobody's ripping the kid for playing through pain. But my question is, why would you play through pain if you weren't playing well? That's not helping you, and it's not helping the team. So maybe he was telling the team, yeah, well, that is an old tear, but I feel fine. So the team figured, okay, we think it's an old injury, and he said that he's fine. But listen, I'm no savant, but he didn't play the same way that he played the first 2 years of his career. He was unsure in the field. You could say he had a fielding slump. But after he got the cortisone shot, he looked like a completely different guy defensively. So to me, if you have 2 cortisone shots, that tells you that something is acting up, that is causing pain. Danny in Long Island. Danny.
It's been too long, my friend. I hope everybody's good. You're in the family.
It has been too long. Where have you been? I missed you. I thought you gave me up for them.
Yes, I listen, but the middle of the day is a tougher call. But anyway, listening to the Volpe, and let me split it down the middle, because we all have kids. My son's played sports and stuff. Is it possible that he has pain in his shoulder or discomfort? He goes to the MRI, whatever they do, and they tell him, "You have a little tear. You have this. You have a bone spur." It's not affecting your performance. It's not going to get any worse, but it's going to have to be dealt with. But you could get used to having a little pain in your shoulder, like every major league pitcher has, or elbow, throughout the whole season. But it doesn't affect you at all, but we're going to have to take care of it. So it really had no effect on his season. He doesn't get the Purple Heart, and he has been trending downward, to be fair, in the last couple of years. So his performance wasn't completely shocking from what I saw the last couple of years. He was having a tough time. So the injury might have had nothing to do with his performance. Is that fair?
Well, I guess that's a good explanation, Danny. But, I know you're a Met fan, but you watch the Yankees as well. His performance was not good, and you can't say it's been trending downward for years. I mean, it's only his 3rd season. He's never been a great hitter, but he looked lost at the plate. And also the thing that jumped out at you, Danny, was he wasn't good defensively, and he's always been good defensively.
He's always been good defensively, but a lot of the Yankees' errors were mentally, physically, being in a wrong. So, we don't know what we need to know what actually had to be corrected. Like I said, because if he just had discomfort, a bone spur, something. Your Mets had a pitcher who was getting a cause. We have to know what the injury is to say whether this was the cause of his demise. That's fair.
That is fair. But I mean, we kept hearing that there was a slight tear in the shoulder. So if they repaired the tear, that's pretty significant.
Last but not least, different subject. I am one of the 400 people alive still in the ESPN Survivor Pool.
Congratulations.
And if you're listening and you were the one person who took the Jets last week, please call in. I have to know what you were thinking.
They almost won, though. That's the sad part. Who did you have last week?
Last week I went with my favorite team, the Steelers. They held out as long as they can, but I felt that was the time to use them. And they rewarded me. So we move on. We move forward.
I know you love the Steelers. Are you falling in love with Aaron Rodgers?
Hey, very good player. When the Steelers win 23-9, that's the way they play. They play to win the game, not to score 35 points. From the get-go, they realized that quarterback for Cleveland was not going to do much, so they game planned to win the game, not throw 400 yards and 4 touchdowns. So he's very smart at the line of scrimmage. Every one of his passes is exactly where it's supposed to be, like other quarterbacks that don't wear New York Jet uniforms. If you have a guy breaking across the middle, the pass is right shoulder high, right on the hands. He throws every pass where it's supposed to be. He's been great in the locker room. And with the demise of the other two quarterbacks in the division, which I don't wish anybody any kind of injuries, it's there for the Steelers. Other than Kansas City starting to look like Kansas City this week, who's playing better football in the AFC than the Steelers? Indianapolis hasn't beat anybody.
Well, that's true, but you can only play who's put in front of you. But yeah, you're right. They're what? Steelers are 5-1. What more do you want?
And we go tomorrow night to Cincinnati, and the Ravens. If they don't get their act together pretty soon, I mean, everyone's waiting for him to come back, but they were playing poorly when he was in there. So we'll see. Sometimes it's just not your year.
Well, I'll tell you what, Danny, it's great hearing your voice. I hope you and your family are well, and I know sometimes 1 to 3 it's a difficult time to call in, but it's great to hear from you again. Danny's such a big part of the afternoon show, calls in, and I thought he disappeared on me. I thought he didn't love me anymore, but it's good to hear from him. 1-800-919-3776. So somebody sent me this. I want to read it. This is from Mike Ferrara, and he said about the Rangers, this is why the Rangers have been losing. They've been playing a great system, great defensive hockey, and generating offense. The puck just isn't finding the back of the net because of bad luck and good opposing goaltending. Then he also tags Steven Valaket, shows how well they played against one of the best teams in hockey and the best offense in hockey. They had similar metrics in the other 2 home shutouts against the Pens and the Caps. Okay, that still doesn't explain to me how you don't run into 1 goal on home ice. I don't understand that. I don't understand how that could be. I understand what you're saying, but it still doesn't tell me why they have not scored. Jacob in Virginia. Jacob.
Holy smokes. I can't believe I got through, sir. I'm a long-time listener. It's an honor to talk to you and get through.
Man,
I'm
thanks
just
calling in.
really nervous now.
Don't be nervous.
Hey, all right, well, I appreciate it. And also just watching on the Yankees ever since I was a kid, man. Just thank you for everything. All right, so real quick, just I love all the calls about Volpe, and I love your take on Volpe as well. I was wondering if possibly they felt like a sense of urgency, meaning maybe the front office, about shutting Volpe down, because last year he came up big in the postseason with some really crucial hits when they were needed. And even though he wasn't hitting particularly well all year, he has been a bright spot in the postseason, him and Stanton, and especially not knowing if Judge was going to not necessarily slump, but have his struggles in the postseason. Maybe they wanted to have some reassurances there, and they were willing to gamble a little bit to have his bat in the lineup. I'm just curious to hear your thoughts on that.
I'm sure that had something to do with it. And he had a terrific postseason last year, and he had a terrific series against Boston. But then it all fell apart with all the strikeouts that he had against Toronto. I mean, he looked lost. He was 1 for 15 with 11 strikeouts in the ALDS. And, I mean, that's not going to get it done. But I'm sure that was their hope. And I'm telling you, that's why when people say they should move on from him, the Yankees truly believe in Anthony Volpe. They believe that there's something there. There's something more there that has to be tapped into. They're not giving up on this guy all that quickly. My only advice would be you should have an open competition going into Tampa, because it's awfully hard to say this guy's my starting shortstop coming off a really, really bad season. So let him have a competition with Oswaldo Cabrera and with Jose Caballero and make sure that he produces before he gets the job. And I'm going to tell you what, if they have a competition between those 3 guys, Volpe will win the job. Volpe will win the job. My buddy Fooch sent me this. Last time the Rangers got shut out in 3 consecutive home games, they won the Stanley Cup. That was in, and then he says, just saying. I'm trying to look at the date. In 1928. 1928. Really going back for that one. Just think about the unlikelihood of being shut out 3 straight times at home. Maybe we'll get Don in at the end of the show. Maybe he can explain it better to me. Hey, FanDuel is getting you ready for kickoff with an offer that you don't want to miss. New customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win. Pick a bet $5, and if it wins, you'll unlock $300 in bonus bets to use all across the app. You could build parlays, bet player props, ride the live lines, whatever your style. FanDuel has you covered. Visit FanDuel.com/K to download the FanDuel app today and get started. 21 plus and physically present in New York. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. For help with a gambling problem, call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369.
Wednesday with Don, Hahn, and Rosenberg. Will the Rangers ever score at MSG again?
First of all, let's not make this bigger than it is. It's game 5. Lots to like about our game. It's a unique situation, but let's not blow this out of proportion.
And Booger McFarland joins the show to discuss the New York football QB situation.
You can't be competitive in today's football without being able to throw the ball. And Justin Fields can't throw the ball.
Don, Hahn, and Rosenberg today at 3 on ESPN New York and streaming live on YouTube.
Make cancer screening a part of your annual healthcare routine. New York Presbyterian offers a full range of cancer screenings, including lung, cervical, prostate, colorectal, breast, and more. Regular cancer screenings could save your life by detecting cancer at its earliest, most treatable stages. Screenings are available across New York City and Westchester. Learn more at nyp.org/cancer screening. Stay amazing. New York Presbyterian.
Honey, this is it. Shot clock winding down. Trailing by 2.
When you can't miss the last shot, and neither can he, don't take slow for an answer.
Pastrello shoots. Didn't see it, George.
Switch to Optimum Fiber, the fastest and most reliable fiber internet, starting at just $40 a month. Call 888-4OPTIMUM or visit Optimum.com today.
What went through your head on the last shot? It all happened so fast.
Optimum. Don't take slow for an answer. Terms apply. See Optimum.com for details.
At City Harvest, we believe no New Yorker has to go hungry. With your help, we're on the road 365 days a year, rescuing over 77 million pounds of nutritious food and delivering it free to millions of New Yorkers, transforming surplus food into sustenance, sustainability, and smiles, rallying thousands of New Yorkers to power a network of nourishment across our city. One day, one meal, and one New Yorker at a time. That's how we feed good. Donate at cityharvest.org.
John Ryan.
Yeah, Dad.
I think I came up with a killer slogan for our law firm. D'Agostino & Associates, bite back.
Bite back?
Yeah. When someone hurts you, you bite back. We'll be the law firm that bites back.
Dad, that's brilliant. Accident victims, call D'Agostino & Associates and bite back. Hey, we could even put a big vicious dog on billboards everywhere.
Yeah, and Rottweilers on buses.
Hey, how about a toll-free number?
What are you thinking?
You know, like 1-800-BITE-BACK.
1-800-BITE-BACK. That's brilliant.
But what if people hear fight back?
Easy. I'll spell it out for them, like 1-800-BITE. Back. 1-800-BITE-BACK. That's 1-800-248-3222.
Love it. Hey, Dad.
Yeah?
All this talk about biting back got me hungry.
Me too. Want to grab lunch?
Sure. Hey, how about a jingle?
You mean like D'Agostino Law Bite Back?
The Association on Aging in New York is celebrating the 60th anniversary of the Older Americans Act, which funds vital programs for millions of older adults. Services include meals, transportation, home care, Medicare counseling, case management, and caregiver support. Today, people are uncertain whether some programs remain available. We can help. To learn more about these essential programs and how to keep them, visit our website at agingny.org. Sponsored by the Association on Aging in New York.
At Uline, they know going the extra mile takes hard work. For companies pushing to go further, Uline will go the distance with you. 24/7, they answer the phone to get you the shipping and industrial supplies you need. Business can move fast. Unexpected large orders, adverse weather, new safety guidelines, and changing economic trends. Uline works hard keeping 41,000 items ready to ship, minimizing detours on your way to the extra mile. Visit uline.com.
Getting the right mattress helps you sleep at night. Getting the right price helps you sleep even better. At PC Richard & Son, they don't just sell you a mattress. Their experts use a 4-step fitting process to make sure your new bed fits you perfectly. The right fit, the right price, plus free delivery. It's what they do, only at PC Richard & Son. Free delivery on mattresses $199 and up. Excludes Manhattan. See stores for details.
Every great team has its core players, but when the season gets tough, adding the right free agent can make all the difference. The same goes for business. At Robert Half, we found that 67% of companies surveyed plan to increase their use of contract talent to handle workload peaks and backlogged projects. With Robert Half's specialized recruiters experience, combined with our award-winning AI, you can quickly find the skilled candidates you want. At Robert Half, we know talent. Discover how we can help at roberthalf.com/talent.
Rich Eisen here. As you all know, I care deeply about pediatric cancer research and awareness. That's why I'm proud to talk about Hyundai Hope on Wheels. For over 27 years, every Hyundai sold has helped fund life-saving pediatric cancer research. Together with over 850 dealers nationwide, they've raised more than $277 million, supporting over 25,000 kids in their fight against cancer. At Hyundai, hope isn't optional. It comes standard. Visit HyundaiUSA.com and search Hyundai Hope on Wheels to learn more.
All right, 2:31 on this Wednesday. 2:30 is when we talk to Mike Lupica every Wednesday. He's the New York Daily News sports columnist. You can read him on MLB.com, best-selling author, and he joins us now. Mike, how you doing?
Good afternoon, Mr. K. How are you?
I'm fine. Now, for those that don't know, Mike has given me guidance throughout my life, and he tells me when to get nervous, when to be concerned. And that's when I kick it in. So I turn to you now, Mike, and say, should I be concerned about the Jets?
Well, Michael, I think we share the same concern that this might be something more than just a slow start. Would you agree with that, Michael? Because that's what's troubling me right now. Yes, they are worse than they were a year ago, and they were a mess a year ago. And the coach for whom I am rooting, I've made that clear in my newspaper column. I want him to succeed. It's no fun for the Jets to be this bad year after year, okay? But he has done nothing so far to indicate that the narrative of, oh, yeah, but there's a culture change going on, is in fact a reality. There's nothing in the way they play, the turnovers they commit, the penalties they commit. And Mike, when he starts talking to the media and starts playing that, well, yeah, but then you guys, right. As soon as I hear somebody say you guys, when they play the you guys card, my reaction is shut up. That is not part of your job description to worry about you guys. The guys you're supposed to worry about are the guys in your locker room who have a chance to still be without a win after playing the Carolina Panthers this Sunday.
You know what's interesting? There were two great players that were you guys, Jordan and Jeter. But they had the hardware to back it up. I don't think that Aaron Glenn at this point should be a you guys guy.
No, and it was very low. Yeah, Michael, we both covered Derek his whole career, okay? It was very low-key with Derek. Right. And Michael picked his spots with that stuff, okay? Because the fact is, other than the time that Michael got roughed up, well, he got roughed up about gambling, obviously, okay? And other than the time he got roughed up for going to Atlantic City, and I remember writing a column at the time and telling people, shut up and don't worry about what he does when he's not playing. Just worry about what he does when he is playing, okay? Mm-hmm. But Glenn has begun to sound so defensive. When asked a completely legitimate question last Sunday about whether Fields was going to keep his job, and just how can you ask a question like that? No, how can you not ask a question like that?
And at the beginning of the show, Mike, I opened up because today he was talking about obviously Justin Fields should be giving his receivers a chance, and it doesn't have to be that big of a window to throw the ball. But then he adds on, but then you guys will be bitching about it if he makes mistakes. He's actually fighting with ghosts now, not about what we say, but what we might say. That's the wrong way to go about it.
when you start flinching, exactly, Michael, when you flinch because of what somebody might write or say about you, then you're worrying about stuff that has absolutely nothing to do with getting your team its first win. I can remember, I think I've told you this story before. Ronnie Darling, obviously, is one of the smartest people I've ever covered. And I remember sitting with him in front of his locker one day back in the 80s when the Mets were, in so many ways, the greatest show on earth. And he was talking about some headline that had been made that day by someone in the room. And Ronnie said, we spend an amazing amount of time in here worrying about stuff that has nothing to do with winning the game. Mm-hmm. And that's where Glenn is right now, because he's under a lot of pressure, because there's nothing that we have seen on the field to indicate that things are actually getting better with the Jets.
Now, his mentor is Parcells. You knew Parcells very well. I really wasn't covering the Giants. I didn't know him. But was he somebody that was sensitive to what was written?
Yeah, no, he was and he wasn't, Michael. He was very savvy about the media. Mm-hmm. And Parcells was, I often joke in my column that it's like, oh, here I go with another Parcells quote. But Parcells just was one of the other smartest people I've ever covered. And he once said to me, and he said to other people, it's not my job to take my team's temperature for the media every single day, okay? And he steadfastly refused to do that. And I don't know what Glenn's motive here is, except he's just, again, I'll say it again, he's gotten awfully defensive. We're not out of October, Michael. Mm-hmm. We're not out of October. And Mike, swinging at the media for things they might say, it's like swinging at people who are mean to you on social media. Talk about swinging at ghosts. How do you ever win that fight? There's no judges scoring that says, "Oh yeah, well you won that one." Mm-hmm. No, you never win. You never win. And so his job is to win a game. He's got to get on the board, because they last Sunday were far and away the worst team in professional football.
That game was there to be won.
Oh, my God. Against a good team. Mm-hmm. Against a very good team who I think is going to give the Giants all they want on Sunday. I think I love Jackson Dart. He better have his helmet strapped on Sunday, because Sean Payton is going to come after him, okay? But that game was sitting there to be won, and they're at midfield, and they do nothing. They do nothing to advance the ball.
Now, you grew up a Giant fan. Are you in on Dart? Do you think they've turned a corner, or was that just an outlier, the game against the Eagles?
No, I think they turned the corner. I think there is a certain it quality to this young man. I'm not anointing him. I'm not saying that he is going to lead the Giants out of the darkness. I wish very much that he had Malik Neighbors as a wingman along with Mr. Scadaboo, okay? But he has brought life to this team. He has brought life to the fan base, Michael, who have been grasping for anything for years to feel good about. And that win, to me, I know they won a playoff game a few years ago with Daniel Jones and Brian Daboll, okay? That win on Thursday night felt to me like the most important game they have won since the last Super Bowl, because of who it came against. I wrote about this the other day. For one night, if you're a Giant fan, here's what you're thinking. We were them. We were the Eagles. We had the better quarterback on the field. We had the better running back on the field. We had the better defense on the field. Mike, it was shocking. But then the longer the game played out, here's what I kept thinking. If you didn't know who these two teams were, who would you think was the better team? And you'd say, well, it's obviously the Giants.
Let's talk, it's been a while now, a couple of days that we can recalibrate about the Yankees. Have you changed your opinion after seeing the way the Blue Jays have just been outmanned by Seattle? And, everybody kept saying the Blue Jays are just better than the Yankees. And I look at it, Mike, and I said this at the beginning of the show, The Yankees have a better roster than the Blue Jays. There's no way that they should have been slapped around that way. What's your thoughts on the postmortem on them?
Michael, it is the analysis of the New York Yankees is extremely complicated, all right? Because when I look at this year's team, I look at a team that at the trade deadline clearly wasn't good enough, and then Cashman made enough moves and enough solid moves to make them getting better but not good enough again. Okay, so they became a slightly better, not good enough team, and Mike, you have debunked the crapshoot theory. I have debunked the crapshoot theory. Okay, when the same thing happens in different rounds year after year, then you have to look at the whole program. The bottom line on the Yankees is yes, they have won all those games for all those years. And the idea that they don't get any credit for that is simply a defensive crouch from the front office. They get plenty of credit for doing that, okay? But the fact is, Michael, they have won one World Series in the last 25 years. We talk about 2009. No World Series since then. They've won one World Series in the last 25 years. And in that time, the Red Sox have won 4, the Giants have won 3, the Dodgers are about to have 3 probably, and the Astros and the Cardinals have both won multiple World Series. So, yeah, they're right there every year. Yeah, they give themselves a chance. And I believe that whatever Hal says about his mandate is to win it all, I think he's perfectly happy to be in play every October. I think he'd like to win another World Series, but he's not going to panic. He's not going to fire the general manager. He's not going to fire the manager. But I asked you this the other day, and I'll ask you this again, okay? In all the years since they have last won the World Series, did they ever once really have the best team? Because I don't think they did. And you think that which year?
But they've been in the conversation. I mean, if you don't win, then you don't have the best team.
I'm talking about being the best team. Well,
2009, they were definitely the best team.
Yeah, no, since then. I'm asking you who they're never quite the best team, but they have all of the resources. They have all of the money.
So what do you think the problem is?
I think that there's a bunch of problems. One, I think they have gotten home run happy, Michael, and I think that what you see is when they stop hitting home runs. It's funny with the Yankees, by the way. When they stop hitting home runs, people said during the Blue Jays series, well, they got to start hitting home runs again. But I think that in the postseason, it's very rare that you're going to slug your way to the world title, and I think that they don't. I wish they had a few more grinders, Mike. I wish they had a few more guys like a few more dirty uniforms on this team.
So you want an Ernie Clement?
Yes. Yeah, and by the way, they're not. They're in a world of trouble right now. Okay, they're in a world of trouble because they got smacked the way that the Yankees got smacked in those first 2 games in Toronto. But I think this is just me, and you watch them a lot closer than I do, Mike. I think there is a lack of offensive versatility on the Yankees year after year after year. And the other thing is, and maybe next year, because they look loaded again, because we're already talking about next year, they will finally have enough pitching. But to me, they never quite have enough pitching. I think if there's one fatal flaw in this whole operation for a very long time is they haven't been great with pitching year to year, and that's just my opinion about the Yankees. I take no delight in the fact that they got knocked out again, but the things that happen to them when they lose, they keep happening.
Well, let me push back on one thing because I'm intrigued when you say it that Hal is content with them contending every year. I mean, other than like entrusting, the same people, he has a top payroll all the time, which he should because they're a high revenue team. What more could he do?
No, Mike, we're in the same lane here. So if he's unhappy with the results, And I'm talking about the result of not winning the World Series. And by the way, nobody thinks it's realistic that every year it's a championship or bust. No. But you'd think that every once in a while they win one by accident, okay? But if he was unhappy, then he would change things. But he doesn't change things. The only significant change that has been made is when he allowed Brian Cashman to fire Joe Girardi after he made it to Game 7 of the American League Championship Series. And no one has spoken more eloquently on this subject than you have. And in place now is a wonderful guy who is exactly the manager that Brian Cashman wants. And by the way, you can look at this starting to happen with the New York Mets, who hired a hitting coach and a bench coach today, neither one of whom has ever actually faced a pitcher in professional baseball. Other than, I think, in the Frontier League for the new hitting coach, Jeff Albert. So
it is amazing that both teams just, they're completely changing their coaching staff like that was the problem.
But these are all, that's like in the old days when the old man would fire a pitching coach just to look busy, and is it going to change the product on the field? Is it going to change the end result? But when I say, I'm not saying that Hal doesn't want to win the World Series. I think he very much would like to win the World Series. But if it pissed him off that he wasn't winning the World Series, he would change stuff. But he doesn't. So this is how it's going to continue.
Good stuff, Mike. We'll talk to you again next Wednesday.
Okay, Michael. Bye-bye.
That's Mike Lupica. He joins us every Wednesday at this time. Great stuff from him. When we come back, I'll reunite with my old partner, Don LaGreca, and I'll ask him why the Rangers not scoring at home. And then Don will then stay around to host Don Hahn and Rosenberg. It's the K Show right here on ESPN New York.
At AT&T, we guarantee our network so you can talk college football with your BFF while taking Buster to the vet.
Hey, yeah, I can't believe he ate the whole thing of chicken wings.
And I can't believe we're staging a comeback. Touchdown! Yes!
Staying connected matters. That's why in the rare event of a network outage, you'll automatically get a bill credit for a full day's service. For wireless downtime lasting 60 minutes or more caused by a single incident impacting 10 or more towers, must be connected to impacted tower at onset of outage. Restrictions and exclusions apply. See att.com/guarantee for full details.
Rich Eisen here for Sonos, the speakers that bring every game to life in my own house. With studio quality sound, Sonos makes you feel like you're right there in the stadium. Whether you're cheering on your team, binging your favorite show, or listening to the hottest songs, Sonos fills every room with incredible sound. Setup is easy. Just plug in, open the Sonos app, and you're ready to go. Want stadium quality sound at home just like me? Because I love Sonos. You will too. Explore soundbars, speakers, and more at Sonos.com. Sonos. They look as good as they sound.
This is an ad by BetterHelp. BetterHelp therapists have helped over 5 million people worldwide on their mental health journeys. That's millions of stories, millions of journeys, and behind every one is a therapist who showed up, listened, and helped someone take a step forward. Moments in therapy, like the right question, a safe space to cry, or a small win can change lives. With over 30,000 therapists, BetterHelp is the world's largest online therapy platform, having served over 5 million people globally. And it works. With an average rating of 4.9 out of 5 for a live session based on over 1.7 million client reviews. This World Mental Health Day, we're celebrating the therapists who have helped millions of people take a step forward. If you're ready to find the right therapist for you, BetterHelp can help you start that journey. Our fans get 10% off their first month at BetterHelp.com/timeout. That's BetterHelp.com/timeout.
Ballybet Sportsbook. Yo, Ballybet stacked for football season. When it comes to sportsbook apps, it's undefeated. Ballybet. Check out that brand new Parlay Zone. Here's the kickoff. Build your bets and place them right on your phone. What? Live bets, daily boosts, and promos. Increase your odds so you can win more dough. Touchdown! Ballybet's the play. Make game day more fun and download it today. Must be 21 plus, New York only. Gambling problem? Call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY. Ballybet Sportsbook and Casino.
Download it.
Just printed from the Erie Canal Press, the most coveted ticket, New York Lottery's $1 million raffle, hath arrived. 15 fortunate souls shall come into the fortune of a millionaire.
Translation, the $1 Million Raffle is here, and 15 winners are going to become millionaires. The New York Lottery commemorates 200 years of the Erie Canal with your best odds of winning $1 million. Limited tickets available. Ask your local retailer today. Please play responsibly. Must be 18 plus. Gambling problem? Call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY.
Score a win this game day with Amazon Pickup, the MVP of package pickup. Need that new football jersey for the big matchup? With Amazon Pickup, you can collect your order from secure Amazon lockers or counters near you on your schedule. Whether you're running from work or home or straight to the tailgate, Amazon Pickup makes it easy and worry-free at no extra cost. Don't miss kickoff. Grab your gear and your packages when it works for you. Find your nearest Amazon Pickup location at amazon.com/pickupmvp. That's amazon.com/pickupmvp.
Lowe's knows that free makes everything better. That's why our rewards members get free standard shipping on the things they want and need to get the job done every day. Savings for rewards members add up fast, so why wait? Join for free today. Lowe's, we help, you save. Not available in Alaska and Hawaii. Exclusions and more terms apply. Loyalty program subject to terms and conditions. Details at lowes.com/shipping terms. Subject to change.
Tire care shouldn't come with extra costs or surprise fees. It should be simple, straightforward, and stress-free. So at Midas, they're rolling out the limited lifetime tire guarantee, included with every tire purchase with paid installation. You'll pay nothing for flat repairs, nada for flat replacements, zilch for tire rotations every 5,000 miles, and zero for other preventative maintenance. So with this limited lifetime tire guarantee, you'll pay a whole lot of nothing compared to what the other guys charge for tire care. That's the limited lifetime tire guarantee, only at Midas.
Knicks fans, opening night is about to pass away. Join ESPN New York's Don, Hahn, and Rosenberg live from 3 to 6:30 p.m. from Stout on West 33rd between 6th and 7th. Steps from the Garden. Get ready for the start of Knicks basketball.
Runs it off the dribble. He got it and one.
Be there for special guests, live Knicks talk, and opening night vibes before tip-off. We'll see you at Stout on West 33rd. Don, Hahn, and Rosenberg live from the Knicks home opener. Don't just listen, don't just watch. Be there.
All right, so I put out a question earlier. How is it possible for a New York Ranger team with really good players on that team and a new coach that has won a couple of Stanley Cups, how have they not scored at Madison Square Garden? And I said, well, I don't know the game to that level, and some people have reached out on social media, but I have an incredible resource. The station has an incredible resource at its disposal. A guy who knows the answer to these questions, and that is the great Don LaGreca, the voice of the Devils on the MSG Network.
Wait a minute. I know I have the answer?
Yeah, I assume.
Well, I have theories. I don't know if I have the answer.
Give me a theory on how a team like the Rangers can't score in 3 games at home.
Well, I could tell you that I watched pretty much all of the game on Sunday because it was on the NHL Network, and I was on the road with the Devils, so I was able to watch it. And I watched a good portion and listened to the rest of the game yesterday. And what I saw was, sometimes you got to tip the cat to the goalies. All right, they're getting shots on goal, quality shots on goal. They're just not finishing. It's a small sample size, right? It's only 3 games. I don't know what happened opening night. They just didn't look ready to play. Pittsburgh's not very good. They end up beating Pittsburgh in Pittsburgh 6-1 the next time they played them. So that was probably just a poor start to the game. But the last 2, I can't really say they played poorly at all. I mean, sometimes you got to tip your cap. I thought Charlie Lindgren was great on Sunday. And even though I'm not a fan of Stuart Skinner, he made 30 saves. He's gone to back-to-back Stanley Cup finals. So as much as I'm not a fan of his per se, I mean, he's still a goaltender that's won a lot of big games. So I wouldn't freak out about it.
But I mean, okay, so I get it. Good goaltending. But don't you find it odd that a puck will not find the back of the net for 3 games? I mean, it hasn't happened since the 1920s, so it's not that usual.
And it hasn't happened to them, and they're celebrating their 100th anniversary. I know it's not good, but sometimes it happens. And Sullivan's been around. He's won a couple of Stanley Cups, all right? And he's not going anywhere. He's in the first year of his contract. So I don't think he's got any reason to kind of BS, and I think he was being honest. He was happy with their play. It just wasn't their night. But at some point, it's going to have to be your night. I mean, 3 straight games at home without a goal, first time in franchise history, and you're celebrating your centennial. Not good at all, but if you look at it deeper, and certainly people have looked at it deeper than I have, but look, from what I've seen a team that's just a little bit snake bit.
Now, I've got to ask you this, because I heard the call, and when I heard it, I said, wow, that is such a good line. How did you come up with stick a pitchfork in?
When I found out I got the job, which was back on June 12th, I was starting to think about you and about when you were telling me to do the whole Cain is Abel thing. And I'm like, and the reason I didn't like the Cain and Abel is because I didn't want it to be given to me. Right. And I thought about, like, what could I do? It doesn't seem forced, that makes sense, that maybe the fans can get excited about after a win, right? Because everybody's happy after a win, and Howie's got put it in the books. And I said, let me think about it. So I spent the summer thinking about it, and put a fork in it is usually when something's done. Well, what does the devil have? He has a pitchfork. So I tried it. I asked Nancy about it. I asked a couple of people that I was close to about it. I'm like, it sounds all right. So I brought it up to the MSG people, and they said, give it a try. And they only won once in the preseason. And I didn't do it after the preseason win.
Right.
I just didn't think about it because I was so caught up in the first couple of games there. And then it occurred to me as they won the game in Tampa, so I threw it out. And it got a tremendous reaction. So they win again, similar circumstance. I threw it out again, and now T-shirts are being made.
Yeah, athletes' logos. I think they're putting out a T-shirt. That's awesome.
So I kind of caved to what you were thinking. And the one thing that I was told by the people when I was hired is one of the reasons they hired me is they like my personality. So I figured, all right, having a signature call is part of somebody's personality. So I really ruminated on it the entire summer, and I'm glad it's gained traction.
And it's not something that's obtrusive. It's toward the end of the game when the game is over. So, I mean, it works perfect.
Yeah, I will not do it when, after an empty netter, or I won't do it if it's 6-0 when the clock zeroes out. That way it can't come back to bite me, because if it does, then, Michael, nobody's going to want to hear it again.
Right.
If I did it too early. So, yeah, it's kind of cool, and it's fun. I mean, look what C has done for you, right?
Done nothing for me.
Why does everything have to be financial with you? Right? Or maybe you haven't made any money off
that?
it. Because I know
me well.
When you answered that question, it's done nothing for me. You were thinking about money. But that's not. No. It's done a lot for you. It's your signature call. People hear see you, they think of you.
I think that the Devils should make shirts that they sell at the Prudential Center. I think it's that good.
Well, when I was thinking over the summer, I mean, this is silly, but you daydream. I mean, this is my dream job. So I've been obsessing over this since the second I got the job, just thinking about everything that goes into it.
June 12th.
And I just thought the cool thing would be as if it became a thing, where they're maybe saying at the arenas and all, like, you know what I mean? Like you said, like, see it. People say, hey, see it. Kruk and Kipe had, have their signature stuff. Like, that was kind of like my end game, is that maybe it's something that the fans can really get excited about, and there can be a connection.
You know me, I'm always going to give you the downside too. And here's my downside. When I die, whatever's written about me, wherever it is, there's going to be C in the headline. Now, when you die, stick a pitchfork in them.
I don't think it's going to happen. Listen, Michael, I hope I live long enough that it becomes a bit of a thing. But if there's any reason I'm remembered after I'm gone, I don't think that's a negative. I think that would be. You
sound like you're having a terrific time, and you're doing a great job. So I'm so happy.
Have you gotten a chance to watch it all?
I actually, when was the last game? 2 days ago?
Yeah, the game Monday night.
Yeah, I watched some of that between the baseball games. I kept turning back, and I thought you sounded great.
And any critique, because I'll tell you what.
I mean, first of all, how could I critique you on hockey? But you're terrific.
Well, radio and television, I will say this,
easier, right?
It's easier and harder at the same time. It's just there's different reasons it's easier, and there's different reasons it's harder. But it is different. It is a completely different animal. I mean, you need experience to do it, and I have experience doing radio, but not a lot of it applies to a TV call. I got less is more, and I've got two analysts. So there's a lot.
Welcome to my world.
Yeah, it's a challenge, but the fans have been great about it, and I'm looking forward to tomorrow, home opener.
That's awesome. And also, I mean, when you get compliments from people that you didn't think you'd get compliments from, that, I mean, it's amazing. on social media. That's awesome.
Well, that's another. I got a lot more people watch TV than listen to the radio, Michael. I will say that. There's a lot more reaction to when you do things on TV.
That's true.
Both
That's
good
true.
and
Well,
bad.
keep doing it. You're doing
Thanks,
great,
Ben.
and good luck tomorrow in the home opener. I know that Hahn and Rosenberg are upset because we're cutting into their time, so I better say so long, right?
I think they're just upset that you didn't ask them to come on.
Yeah, maybe one day. Anyway, thank you, Don. Stick a pitchfork in this show. We'll be back again tomorrow at 1 o'clock. Remember, Boone and Cashman will talk at noon, so we'll have a lot of time to unpack that, all starting at 1 o'clock. In the words of Billy Joel, life is a series of hellos and goodbyes. I'm afraid it's time for goodbye again. See everybody. Have a great, great evening, and we'll talk to you tomorrow at 1.
There are a lot of reasons why people buy at Ramsey Mazda. It's their selection, it's their customer service, and it's their savings. Lisa New